that's how it's done.
That should be maybe put in there too, because it don't be a licensed, city licensed business. So that one, since it's there, we don't have to write nothing, just
And that word is,
and that says in here that the city administrator can issue this permit.
where did she go? Oh, she's in her whole children's courthouse.
That takes a lot of the BS out of the game too.
Yep.
Gotta kind of go around and sing seven of them out there on the street. There's two on Star Boulevard, now they're gone. 7th Street, they're gone. There's two on Star.
Oh, right.
That's what Bob mentioned that one time, he said, I told him about the campers out there being on the street, and he talked to him, and he said, you know, it says that the city administrator can give them a permit.
Well, we give them close. And there's been times, you know. You gotta let them go.
You gotta go
Yep.
with some. Gotta be kind of human about it. I think one I talked to them about, they had extension cords running out, they was actually living in there. Now, that one's a little different.
That's it.
They were there for a few days, and just.
How about it? Took my grandson room by the city park the other day, and there's this John Deere tractor that I did not recognize, was a loading officer backing into the city park.
Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you everyone for coming and those watching on TV. Very sharp narrative report. I just want to remind everybody that Memorial Day is coming up Monday, May 31st. And as every year, there will be a memorial service. They start at the firehouse and march to the city cemetery where the service is held. And I believe that's at 9 o'clock. The other thing I have is I'm glad Colleen is here. I wanted to recognize Colleen Murphy from Hogshead Cigars. You know, it looked like there wasn't going to be a MyFest this year because there was no committee, and with the COVID and that, it was going to be another year that we didn't have anything. Colleen came out to the city and said we need to do something, and asked a few questions and this and that, and I know she had help, but she was the ramrod of everything, and took the reins, and we actually had a MyFest. Wasn't as big as always, but it turned out very well. She had very good vendors. You know, there was people. The parade was not big like it normally is, but we had a parade, music. I think it was very well done. And I personally wanted to thank you and just recognize you for your hard work. It was appreciated. And that's all I really have. City Administrator report?
Yes. Myself and Darren and Jesse attended a pre-construction conference via Zoom last week with the MoDOT engineers and all their folks, and the contractor who's going to do the paving on 19 and 100 that we've been talking about. Well, we weren't sure when it was going to get done, but it's going to get done very soon. They will actually begin work on June 7th. They will be finished by July 4th, but they will not be doing any work from noon on July 2nd through 6 a.m. on July 6th, so it won't interfere with the holiday. And any needed lane closures will be at night, and they did give us specific strict work hours for each of those highways. On Highway 19 from the bridge to Highway H, they'll be working from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. And Highway 100 from the bridge to Reserve Street from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. They came up with those hours based, they said, on their traffic flow studies. They can come back and do the shoulders during daytime hours if they need to. The contractor that you'll see around is Magruder Paving, LLC. And next week, MoDOT and that contractor are going to schedule an on-site meeting with our crews here in the city to finalize all the logistics on that. The asphalt ceiling that Todd from the street department has been telling us about actually got done today, all in one day. That CRF, that corrective restoration process they do. It was completed on Epley Rickey Drive and on Green Drive today, so people can go back to parking on those streets like normal. Those nasty, dusty chips that everybody hates, they have to stay laid down for 3 or 4 days. And then our guys will come back with a street sweeper and sweep those up. But it's kind of a dirty process, but the result is good. Street department also installed a drain pipe at West 11th and Gaskin Main Street in the last week, and the curb and gutter will soon follow. The update on Market Street on the big water line replacement project. Both sides have now been tied in, and they've filled it with water, and they were flushing it out today, and they will send off samples soon. As soon as those come back good, and they got a couple more taps to attach, then they'll be done. We put an ad in the paper recently, but I'll announce again that the park board has a vacancy they're trying to fill. So if there's anybody you know or anybody out there who would like to serve on the park board, terms are for 3 years, and meetings are the third Monday of each month at 7 o'clock. Also in the last week, the Dollar Tree / Family Dollar, their signage has been approved. And so you'll be seeing that installed. I don't know exactly the date, but they have all the city permission that they need. There'll be 2. One is going to be like a freestanding brown sign with the marquee on it. It's going to be on the Hermann lumber side of the parking lot. And it'll have a little, each name of the business in that little strip mall on it. And then the second sign will actually be like the facade on the building itself. It's not actually going to be attached to the building. They're building it like just kind of a facade in front, but it'll be the big sign that says Dollar Tree Family Dollar. So people will be seeing that going on. Also wanted to note that when Lois Cruz, president of the Russian Talent Club, last time had discussed with us how they had found a new company to do cemetery headstone restoration. It was called Jacob's Ladder Headstone Restoration, and they had wanted to do a 30-minute presentation tonight. That did not work with their schedule, so we have a tentative rescheduled date for July 26th. And as that meeting gets closer, and I guess we can assess what the agenda looks like, you can determine then whether you want to start the meeting earlier to accommodate that, or if we have a light enough agenda where we still want to start it at 7. But that's the hope, to get that done then. The last thing I'll say is that I will just introduce this gentleman to my right. This is Corey Orr, if you do not know him. He is hired as a deputy city clerk, and he is training for the position of city clerk. He's worked for the city for the last 3 years in another department, and people around the community may have seen him due to his volunteer service on the board of directors at historic Hermann at the German School Museum, or they may recognize his name from the articles that he has written for the Advertiser Courier about historical figures. Is that right?
Mostly Civil War stuff,
Civil
but
War
yeah.
stuff. Okay, very good. Well, welcome to Corey. He'll be around.
Right. We have no public comments, right? We'll move to ordinances.
Okay, the first, which is on for second reading, is bill number 2021-17, an ordinance to amend Hermann Municipal Code Section 420.630, exceptions to yard requirements.
Any question, discussion? Do I have a motion?
I move to approve bill number 2021-17, second reading.
Motion's been made, a second.
I'll second.
Motion's made, a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next, on for second reading is bill number 2021-18, an ordinance to amend Hermann Municipal Code Section 420.620, yard requirements.
Any discussion or questions on that one? Motion to approve.
I move to approve its second read bill number 2021-18.
Motion's been made, second.
I'll second.
Motion's made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye.
Next, for second reading, bill number 2021-19, an ordinance to amend Hermann Municipal Code Section 420.010, definitions and interpretations.
Move to approve.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion's made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
So carried.
Next, for first reading, bill number 2021-20, an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances of the City of Herndon, Missouri by adding a new code section 420.750 in Article 4, Administration of Use Regulations of Chapter 420, Zoning Regulations, to address the use of cargo containers. And this is essentially the same as the draft that you looked at the last meeting, except on the second page, it's been revised a bit. C1 used to say that they were not permitted in R1, R2, R3, or in C1 or C2. And now, number 2 says that they are permitted in C1 or C2, and with some procedures to follow to get a permit to have one in the commercial zones.
I've still got a few problems with this, guys. One, now Mr. Bowl was in here, and I don't know if the rest of you did, but I did. I went down and looked at the one that's sitting behind the lumberyard. That's fantastic. I mean, that is just what you'd want to use for storage buildings. I mean, I'm surprised no one's thought of this before, at least around here. But the problem with that is this says a permit per container. Now, Dave, if this is on, if he's got like 10 of those on that lot, does he need a permit for every container or for the business?
I added an S there in paragraph of, I would think it would be for every container, because the way he talked, when a trailer moved out in that specific area, there would be a pad, and that's where he would put that container.
But he's gonna have to have a permit to renew every year for every container? That seems a little much, guys.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean,
It says one application and permit may include multiple cargo containers on the same lot.
It does say that?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I'm
Under
having
A,
a
the
little,
very last sentence.
little trouble with reading it right now. And the deal with that there is we don't require any other storage building to renew their permit every year. Now, this is slightly different, I agree, but 1 year seems like an awfully short deal for a business to have to renew their permit every year. Now, I understand you probably, if it were sold that the permits would not go with the business, that the new owner would have to come in and reapply. But I would think 1 year is an awfully short period. That's just simply my opinion on that. What do you guys think? I mean, this is a
Well,
going
it's
business that's probably
something-
gonna be there for many, many years.
well, it's something new, you know, it just, like you say, where he's wanting to put them, I don't know if you drove down there and looked at that.
I have. I was amazed at the amount of room that's down there.
Well, and this is not a permanent thing. I mean, they're not hooked to the ground or anything, they're just placed.
Well, I think they
on the ground.
probably will be. I mean, these things, I mean, they would be more apt to survive a tornado than a house.
Yeah, they're
I
like
mean, they
20
are built
tons,
sturdy.
they're heavy.
But that one, I mean, that one I will, you know, I'll bow to whatever you guys think on.
Well, C says that they get an inspection, maybe they should just be inspected yearly, and if there's a problem,
And see, that's what I think. If there's a
That's-
problem, you can remove that permit. But I just wouldn't see why you'd have to renew the permit every year. I mean, I would think a 3 to 5 year would be more, I guess, palatable.
what do other towns do?
I was just gonna ask him, same thing.
Okay, that's.
I think other towns are right about the same place we are in terms of,
Trying to figure out what to do.
and from 1 year to just giving them a permit, and it's indefinite with this provision in here that says that it can be revoked if it doesn't pass inspection or if there are any deficiencies.
Would you guys go for a 3 year with yearly inspections?
I think 3 or 5. with yearly
Okay,
inspection.
I mean, it just seems like every year would seem to be a lot.
3 maybe.
I go with 3.
You know?
Yeah, 3.
Change
But
that.
that's still subject in case there's violations.
Oh, yeah, well, it says you gotta go through your
Through the
inspection.
inspection.
I mean, I understand that part. We want the stuff inspected. And then on paragraph 3, we're back to this processing deer again. That line in that paragraph affects one person in this town.
Where is this at now? What are you?
Paragraph 3, the bottom. Processing of
number
deer
3.
not exceeding 30 days in any one calendar year. The man has been processing deer for 21 years down there. Every year he has to rent a refrigerator trailer to hang these deer in. He wants to buy one of these cargo containers converted to a refrigeration unit. At that point, I'm not even sure you can consider it a cargo container because it's been modified to do something else. But the 30 days, I mean, guys, deer season is 4 months long.
I thought we were gonna do it for 4 months.
Well, it doesn't say that. That's why I'm asking.
Weren't we gonna do it through deer season? Weren't we
I
gonna
mean,
do
it's,
it-
you got, September 15th through January 15th is deer season. I would say if you're gonna do it for that, 120 days.
He said he would be using it for deer season as a meat freezer.
I mean, he could
Doesn't
use the
have
rest of the year
days.
for other things. I think it'd be hard to do once you've had deer hanging in it, because you really have to sterilize it and everything else.
He said also, I think it, once he's done using.
He was gonna take it out of there for the rest of the year and then bring it back.
Yeah, 30 days is.
It's just,
Something
it's
much
too
time.
short. It's not gonna be of any use to him.
Well, he kinda has one back there already, right behind Ogden. So
Yeah, but
there's-
this trailer that he brings in every year is for the old floor. Once you get them deer coming in, he don't have enough room.
How long has he had that trailer coming in?
He's been doing it every year for as long as he's been there.
I mean, for how many days? Like for a month or for?
Oh, no,
3
no,
months?
No, it's, they're 3 or
A
3 or 4
minimum of
months.
3 months. I mean,
When
it
does
takes
deer
a while.
season start in November?
September 15th through January 15th.
Archery, the muzzle loading and.
The extended hunt, the youth hunt,
What did we say, 4 months?
I would
Well, I
think.
got 120 days. We've got it
You
down.
got 120 days in any one calendar year? I'm acceptable with that.
Okay with everybody else?
Yeah, the container will actually look better than that trailer, so.
Yeah, this isn't, I mean, he's right. I mean, it's gonna be a lot nicer.
Okay. In that case, just make a motion with the amended, or the
New
corrections.
second reading next meeting.
I will, with those additions and changes, I would make a move to approve.
Motion's been made, second.
Second.
Motion's made, second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
So carried.
All right, next is bill number 2021-22, an ordinance to amend sections 220-190, 220-200, 220-210, and 220-220 of the municipal code in prescribing a schedule of rates for refuse container leases for garbage and refuse collection, for billing and collection services by the city, for recycling charges, and for closure expenses related to the city sanitary landfill. And this is more or less an annual, just updating of the trash collection fees.
So they're gonna raise it 3%, which we will pass on to the citizens.
Any other questions? Have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion made and
I'll second.
second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
So carried.
Next is bill number 2021-23, an ordinance to approve a support and maintenance agreement by and between the city of Hermann, Missouri and Electric Controls Company for the city's SCADA control system.
Any questions on this?
This is something we've had for a while.
Yep. If not, do entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve bill number 2021-23.
Motion's been made, second.
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
Next is bill number 2021-24, an ordinance to approve a lease agreement by and between the city of Hermann, Missouri and MCC Missouri LLC for a new cell tower. And I'm going to amend that heading for the next meeting to have it say approve a cell tower lease agreement, that the tower itself
Right.
is not new.
Tower's not new.
It's just a new lease.
Why do you need a 16 by 24 food building? It says 16 by 24 food building.
I I saw that too, they had a typo in their lease agreement.
Feed, maybe?
Yeah, yes, yes.
Move to approve.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
All right, on to resolutions. Resolution number 1305. A resolution to approve job description for the position of finance clerk.
Everybody had a chance to read the job description? Motion to approve that job description?
Move to approve the resolution.
Second?
Second.
Motion's made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
So carried. All right. Moving right along. Okay. Under old business, everybody's aware of earlier this year, we had what is known as the polar vortex, and our gas prices went through the roof. It wasn't just us, several municipalities had the same problem. The city cost for gas in that like 4-day period was $552,000. The city decided to absorb that cost at that time and not pass it on to our citizens, hoping that after contacting the Attorney General's office and other government agencies that they would step in and help us get our money back. Well, that's not happened, and the money we spent came from the gas reserve that is set up in case we have an emergency on the gas line. Thank goodness we had that money and we used some of it, but we have to replenish that money. We have to build the fund back up. That fund is, if we have a major problem on that gas line that we own going from here across the river, we have to have money to fix it. And so, with that being said, we're just throwing it out for discussion this evening that we need to pass this cost on to the citizens, and instead of making everybody pay a large sum at one time like they did in New Haven, we've been thinking about scheduling a three-year plan so that each month you will pay a slight increase on your gas bill. Then after 3 years, that charge will go away. Kathy in the gas department has calculated that, and it varies, everybody's varies, and it was like a low of 17 up to like $35, I think, in that range, but it just depends on the size of your house and how much gas you use, what that rate will be. So anyway, if you all have any input or any questions, I mean, we kind of slightly talked about it, but I think it's time that we have to come to a decision whether we want to proceed with this. And the other thing is, there's so many customers that are on budget billing, and that time's coming. So if we're going to do this, they need to incorporate that into the budget billing, so it doesn't mess up the schedule 2 months from now or 3 months from now.
Does it start in July, the new year for budget billing?
I believe so, yes, July. So anyway, in order to do this, we would have to do it in an ordinance form, I believe, correct?
Right.
And so I guess we have to, bite the bullet and, I hate passing that on, but we have to rebuild that fund. I mean, it's a matter of,
And there is still a lawsuit in process. They haven't totally given up. have they?
Oh, I don't believe so, but that could take years.
It could take years, right.
If we even get anything out of it. So it's not gonna happen quickly, and so, so we have to make that decision, and I know I don't wanna pay more gas on mine, but, that's the way it is, we have to do it, So, if we make a motion to do that this evening, then Dave can have an ordinance for us at the next meeting. With that, before we make that, you want to expand, the electric also got hit with the vortex. And the good thing about the electric, and Jesse had made a note, and Trish will read that, there'll be no increase on the electric side at least.
Yeah, the electric got hit to the tune of $338,000. But the electric department has the ability to recoup that money in less time because the electric increase as the gas did, along with the forecasted rate decrease from MOCUP starting in July. Jesse feels like those two counterparts would allow us to absorb that for the citizens. You know, that would be nice for them too, being that the gas doesn't have that same ability. And he said the electric department has a more consistent load throughout the entire year compared to the natural gas as well, and that makes a difference.
So that's the good news. We are gonna save the citizens
Yeah.
money on that end.
Yes.
I mean, they don't have to pony up on paying for the over $300,000 that the electric had to spend. But we do have to recoup the gas expenses, so. Any other questions or discussion?
We never decided what we would do if we were to get the money from the lawsuit.
Well, I would, and this is just me, I would think that when and if that happens, and depending on how much money that is, then we will have to make that decision
So,
of what happens,
Mhm.
because we don't know, you know.
And if we would get something back, and if we're going through this process where we're passing that cost on to the customer, and if we receive funding back, then we need to turn that money back to the customer.
Like
yeah,
I said,
I would think it would come through.
100%.
Yeah, when that time
That's what
comes.
it's for.
Yeah, if that comes about.
Yeah, you could do it in the form of a rate reduction, you know, to lower their rate every month, or that any money that we had received from this, we could have it earmarked and make it offset any future rate increase that we needed. So the next time we needed a rate increase, you go, oh, we don't have to pass that on because we have this earmarked money. So either one of those approaches.
Yeah, no, that's,
Like I said, when's that gonna happen, if it happens?
if it even happens.
Yeah, the last correspondence we have from our gas supplier, they just said that they had submitted a lot of information to the governor's office and the attorney general. But the federal FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, was continuing their investigation, that there's multiple states involved, but there were no real updates of substance yet. But they're still hoping to learn something because they really are appalled over the price gouging. That's really what it was. And so he did say it might be as late as fall before we hear even the first information on this.
Okay.
I think we have to do it, but then I also pledge that I will look and try to find some different things maybe our citizens can use that could help them pay higher costs. I don't know if there's energy assistance somewhere, or if there are any programs where someone could come and speak to the citizens about ways to lower their utility costs. I'm willing to do that to help out.
See if there's some grant money as far as maybe increasing insulation or storm windows, storm doors. And I think too, I was reading the MML thing came out there. I think there's still time, maybe where the state had some money to help on this vortex increase. That's about all it said in there. I read it was on the MML newsletter they sent out. We could look into grants where we can offer people to replace. I know when I lived in Tennessee, there was through the city with the different system, but they actually finance like a new furnace, a higher efficient furnace or heat pump, and maybe through the state we have grant money that can help upgrade their furnaces or air conditioning.
Well, we can look into all that, but the problem is we have to do, you know, I'm pushing for somebody to make the motion because we have to get it going so they can have time to do this with the budget billing and all that. So, I mean,
Well, we've all talked in probably the 3-year plan.
yes. We kind of decided that was the best one, I guess. You want-
Reluctantly, I will make that motion.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor
I'll second it.
to approve the 3-year plan, seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. So Dave will have to make up the ordinance for the next meeting then? Is there any other old business?
Yes. Christian, when they're talking about paving Market Street, did they mention the bridge?
The
Was that
Missouri
Frame Creek Bridge?
I'm sorry?
Did they mention the Frame Creek Bridge?
No, you mean,
That
the
forward.
one right here by 18th Street? I mean, right
No.
forward? No.
No, yeah, forward.
I think
But just
that's
the last
what
we
it
had
is.
heard, they were talking about paving it out to the handrails and putting a footbridge alongside.
Well, yeah, but see, now if I understand it right, that's 2 to 3 years down the road, they're gonna actually put another girder and expand that whole bridge.
Oh,
With
There'll be a
wide.
sidewalk lane.
Yeah.
well, I knew there was gonna be a
I don't know if they're gonna.
sidewalk over the
You know, I
side.
don't know if they'll repave it with what they're doing, but they're not doing the bridge with this project. The bridge will be a sole separate entity.
Okay.
But I think that's like,
23 or 24?
like I say, I think it's 3 years down the road. But when they're done, they're not taking the bridge out, they're just gonna expand it.
Well, we asked them one time to do that, and they said they couldn't, then all of a sudden they decided they
Well, they
could.
had a different engineer apparently look at it, and he said, man, that bridge is good, let's just have it. Something like that.
The one we're having a lot of problems with the proliferation of dumpsters on city streets. We probably need to do something about that. I understand people occasionally need them, that's not the issue. The issue is they get put there and they never go away. That's a big issue. We're hurting for parking, especially on festival weekends and stuff. There needs to be a limit on how long someone can leave a dumpster sit on one of our streets. I know that our ordinance enforcement officer said something about 30 days. I think that's a little short. Jim?
Yeah, the code enforcement officer sent a message out today, and I looked into this too, and we do have an ordinance currently, 355.130. It describes what's not allowed to be parked on the streets. Basically campers, trailers, derelict vehicles, unlicensed vehicles. I think we could amend that ordinance to add dumpsters. Because it does say in here too, the fee required to be paid for a permit would be $5. So if someone wants a dumpster, they're gonna do some remodeling, it would be a $5 permit if we could amend this ordinance. And I think code enforcement officer said 30 days. I'm like David, 30 days is not really long enough, but it's renewable. I think we should put in there maybe renewable at least twice more.
Up to 90 days.
Yeah,
Up to
I wouldn't
90
go any
days.
farther than 90 days.
I think that's an acceptable answer to this problem.
I think that would help eliminate, and to, I think Bob had alluded to not being in the historic business district during festival weekends, because we're limited on our parking there. And one thing I'd added on to this too, and I believe code enforcement officer looking at it, is that the dumpster can be approved with a permit, but that dumpster needs to come from a licensed, city licensed vendor. I think Bob's looking into it, but this Dan Yee, the one that plays on Schiller Street, doesn't have a business license to operate.
Anybody that uses a 40 yard or more has to go out of town because Tri-County doesn't handle that kind. So
Then
you will see many different companies that have these big dumpsters in town.
for $32.50, that would make it legal.
I'm just saying, so that's why you see all of them.
I think they should have to have a city license because they're doing business in our city.
You're darn right they
And we
should.
make everybody else get licenses, so I think they should too.
So that's one thing, tack on with David, I brought this up several months ago, and it seems to be elevating that that week or so ago, I went out and looked, I counted 7 dumpsters on the streets. Now, several of them are gone now, but I think we should amend this ordinance that Mr. Polite there could see it, chance to look at it, 355.130, if we can just add dumpsters in there. It's already says you have to have a permit in there, and we could put in there 30 days, and it's self-renewing, they must come out and renew it. Instead of rewriting a whole new ordinance, we got one that's got the gist of it there already.
All right, I'll take a look at that.
Then
What
let's-
about dumping dirt and stuff on city
Yeah.
streets and alleys, that needs to stop also. I mean, I understand you need room to do something for a little bit, that's fine, but you can't dump it there and leave it for a week.
I was gonna say, you need to have it done within 48 hours, I would say,
Yeah.
or some type of hours, not,
I would say 24. I mean, if you've got the job, you're not dumping it there and then going and getting the help.
Yeah.
It should be dumped there when you've got the people there.
I'd
to
say,
do the work.
I'd give them a little bit lenient, so you dump it and then all of a sudden it rains. Yeah,
Okay, I'm open to that.
you know, I'd say 48 hours at least.
I
That's
don't know.
just my recommendation.
But it cannot block the street or the alley.
And it takes up parking spaces too,
Yes.
which is not good.
Yeah.
I couldn't find no ordinance code.
Can that work in there, Dave, with that?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
And I'm wondering not to push more work on Marlon, but it'll end up in his lap anyways.
Well, yeah, ask his, I
You
mean,
know,
that's
just-
why he's.
I would give people very little leash on both of these things, doggone it, I mean,
Well,
you-
dumpsters need to be against the curb, not sitting there cocked 45 degrees off the street.
So that, and with piles of mulch or dirt or whatever, to drive by and say, this better be gone tomorrow when I drive by, and if it's not, we go by and with our own front loader and
No,
move it
that's,
for 'em.
I don't have a problem with that.
But, you know, we can put it in a code and give them a ticket as well,
Right.
That's good.
Agreed.
you know.
Okay, so you'll make up something for us for the next meeting then?
Yep.
Any other old business?
I'm done.
This end of the table? Any new business? No new business, we'll move to motions. We have a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
I move to approve the minutes.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
So carried. Invoices for payment.
Are we doing both of them, the budget workshop too?
Oh, that's right, that's right, I forgot about that, thank you. Yeah, the minutes for the budget workshop.
I move to approve them.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Now pay the bill.
Move to pay the bill.
Motion been made and second.
I'll second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Hire Abigail Miller as a dispatcher. Any question? Got a profile on that?
Move to approve.
Motion been made and approved, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
No speed. All right, approve the pool schedule and the fees.
I move to approve them, and I think it's awesome that we don't have to raise them.
Yeah.
So,
Very good.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
So carried. Acknowledge the destruction of the police and prosecuting files in accordance with retention laws to be recorded in the minutes.
Move to approve.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Okay, caterers permit, Adam Pukta Winery KT 82 race event, amphitheater, June 5th, 2021.
I move to approve that one.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
So carried. Special event, application Go St. Louis, KT 82 Trail Relay Race and Finish Line event with music and concessions, also June 5th, 2021.
Move to approve.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's made and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Special event application, People Saving Bank, Hermann Area District Hospital, 5K Glow Run Walk, various streets, sidewalks in the west side of town, June 25th, 2021, from 7:30 till 10 p.m.
I'm not going to vote on this one because my name is on this application.
Move to approve.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Special event application, Vilo Copa LLC, doing business at All Heads Cigar and Fine Tobaccos, Smoke Fest 2021 at the Amphitheater, September 18th, 2021.
Bella Copa, that goes with your shirt.
Did I say that right?
Yeah, just say it goes with your shirt.
Okay.
I move to approve it.
Motion's been made, motion's made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
So carried. Special event application for Brush and Pallet Club, Arts and Crafts Festival, Hermann Middle School, October 9th, 10th, And the 21st?
I move to approve.
Motion been made, second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. No other business, no closed session tonight? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion made to adjourn, second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you so much, folks, for coming and watching.
Did good.
I'm gonna go for a lot of tips, you guys.
Appreciate you saying something.